What's up, guys? Iceman here. So Project Diablo 2 Season 3 is up and coming. It's coming very fast and very quick. So if you want to catch it, then be ready, dog, and consider these changes, alright? Because I think there's actually some interesting things that are coming forth with Season 3 Project Diablo 2. This is Season 2 right now. My Necromancer, my Summon Necro. It's been a damn good time. I'm actually considering making another one for Season 3. Although there are no announced changes to the Necromancer as far as I know. Let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong on this. Let me just gear this real quick. I don't think there are any changes to the Necromancer, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, so I'm pretty damn pleased with him. But check this out. So I have the notes that I'm going to pull up. And we'll go over some of this shit. Now, one thing that has been announced that I think will help the Necromancer is the fact that Enchant, the Sorceress skill, which can be also had on Demon Limb for any character to cast, or Obedience Rune Word for any character to cast, including your Merc. Because Obedience it casts on kill or hit. I think it's on kill. How it's going to work now is when that shit's cast, it's going to affect everything in a certain radius of the person casting it. But the effect is going to be halved for party members, I believe. So if it does 5,000 fire damage to you when you cast it, or for your mercenary in this example, it's only going to do 2,500 damage for all your minions. But the thing is, that's a lot of fire damage if you have all these fucking minions surrounding you. So it could be a damn good time. Like, my Necromancer generally has 8 skeleton warriors, 8 mages, 4 golems in this case, and 1 mercenary. You could have revives and shit. So I'm thinking that might be an interesting way to go right there. So maybe you'll want an Obedience Merc on your Necromancer, I don't know. Or just have a Demon Limb on Switch. But check this shit out, dog. I'm going to pull up these notes, alright? We're going to go over some of this shit. Alright, so here they is. And Season 3 date, depending on when PoE season resets, either July 16 or July 23, alright? So that ain't too damn far away now, is it? So let me know if you dogs are going to be playing some Season 3. 7-day close beta. I don't really give a toad about that. I probably won't be interested in trying the beta. Ice Boy's only into alpha shit. So this is a big change, right? Vengeance now carries and scales elemental damage from gear and deals splash damage. So you can have a bunch of charms in your inventory that do elemental damage. That's all going to be added to Vengeance. The Paladin skill. You all remember that skill in LOD? He just hit shit and it'd do elemental damage. Alright, it was a skill. And now it's going to have AoE damage, and it's going to be synergized with all your elemental damage that you have on your gear and your charms. So that homie might actually be decent. I don't know. Rebalancing elemental damage on charms, so maybe they'll be enhancing damage on charms, I don't know. Holy Target now auto targets allies. Fist of the Heavens now auto aim. And now auto aims again, but with a smaller radius. I've never tried a Fist of the Heavens Paladin, but I know they're a thing. Joust now has auto aim. I think Joust is that skill that makes you teleport across and hit an enemy, just like... Is that the right skill? I think that's the skill. Just like the Assassin's Dragon Talon, it works similarly to that. Blessed Hammer, speed of hammer is increased again, so Hammerdings might be a thing. Redemption has been improved some again, because they nerfed the hell out of it for Season 2, I believe. And even Season 1, to my understanding. Larger maps will be reduced in size. See, here's the thing. Enchant and Cold Enchant now buff all targets in an area and have halved effectiveness for allies. And here's another big change that I'm looking forward to, all right? These notes aren't very long. This will only take a fucking minute, so chill out. But Thunderstorm, I've always liked Thunderstorm. Back when I was a duck, I imagined having a godly as fuck lightning sorceress. Always wanted a godly as fuck one. I've seen them back in the day, man, with Astuta's Temper, a lightning facet in it, with the perfect Skin of the Viper Magi, with a perfect lightning facet in that shit. What else do they have? They have probably Griffins or Shaco, depending. You know, just all sorts of godly as fuck gear. Inventory decked out with light GCs and all that. Twin SOJs or whatever you need to get a nice breakpoint for FCR. So I've always wanted a godly as fuck one. And the fact that Thunderstorm is receiving a buff this season, I'm really liking that, because some of you might know this, but in Pd2 Season 2, Thunderstorm had a nice mod added to it where it would strike the enemies and it'd make a small nova. All right, just a small nova. Now in Season 3, the nova's going to be big as fuck. No, it's not going to be big as fuck, but it's going to be the same size of the Sorceress's standard nova. And it's going to, I believe, do the same damage that your Thunderstorm does. So it's not going to do your nova damage, but your Thunderstorm might be doing a lot of damage if you synergize it a little bit and have Lightning Mastery maxed and all that. So I'm looking forward to that. Frozen Orb, weaker at low levels, but has better scaling, so it can be stronger at high levels. So Frozen Orb Sorks, you know, they might be a little better this season, endgame-wise anyway. Here's a big change, and I mentioned this in a few of my previous videos. Staff weapons now have FCR auto mods. So for normal mode, your normal staffs anyway will have 10 FCR. Your exceptional staffs will have 30 base. And your elite staffs will have 50% FCR base. All right, now this applies to all of them. Rare, unique, rune word, I think. But I know it applies to rune words and normal items. That's really what matters here. Because now you can make infinity in staffs. And it has an additional 35 FCR. All right, and Cyclone Armor. So you can cast that on your Sorceress. So you can be a Sorceress wielding an Infinity Archon staff or whatever elite staff you want. And that shit in total is going to have 85 FCR, all right? So that's more FCR than what you can attain with a perfect Spirit Shield, for example, and Astuta's Temper, or Heart of the Oak, which has received the shaft up the ass in Project Diablo 2. I believe it only has 30 FCR now. And is Spirit Shield even a thing? I don't remember. But nonetheless, you're getting more FCR with this staff than you can with any weapon shield combo in Pd2 Season 3, all right? So your endgame Sork's going to be wielding this shit, in my opinion, and I wouldn't mind having a staff-wielding Sorceress. Because remember, Infinity, for the user, it pierces lightning res as well. Not only does it have the Conviction Aura that can actually break immunities, which applies if your Merc's wearing it as well, but it also has a nice little mod that often isn't used much at all outside of what your Merc kills, because it actually pierces enemy light res for the user. So if your little bitch is wielding this staff, she's going to be piercing enemy light res by an additional 55% or whatever. You know, it has a small little range. Is it 50 to 60%? I don't remember, but it's a lot. All right, you're going to pierce it by a lot. And you're also going to be having the Conviction Aura applied, obviously, as well. And this opens up a nice slot for your Mercenary. In fact, I just thought of this shit. You can finally have an Insight Mercenary on the godly as fuck Lightning Sorceress. So, fuck it, I'm going to make a Sorceress for the start of Season 3. Because that'll be a damn good time. That was the problem, is Mana's just a bitch with the Lightning Sorks. But not no more. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And then you can cast the Cyclone Armor. And of course, you know, the item grind goes deep in this case. Because you can search now for a nice elite staff that you can get 4 sockets in with whatever base skills you want on that shit. You can find one, for example, that gives like 2 to Lightning and 2 to Thunderstorm. And 2 to something else, I think, or 3 to Lightning and 3 to Thunderstorm, can't you? I don't know exactly how what numbers you can get, but you can find them with skills on them, all right? And that could really intensify your item grind. Just imagine that. Searching for that perfect elite staff. And in my opinion, that sounds godly as fuck. And then, of course, you can put an insight on your mercenary. You can put an obedience on your mercenary. You can put whatever the toad you want on them. Just don't put the Reaper's toad on them because it no longer casts a crepify. It's just damn damage. It's been fucked up the ass. But that's fine because you can use insight or whatever else, all right? Use insight on that bitch. Just take my word for it. And Doom, rune word, the same sort of concept applies. Shit can be made into staff, and now it has an additional 25 FCR. So you can have a Doom two-hander that has 75 FCR in total. Remember, Doom also pierces the shit out of enemy cold res, so that would be interesting. But I really like the idea of Infinity because it has the Conviction aura. Yeah, that's going to be toad as fuck. And I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm looking forward to that shit. Bunch of other things changed that I almost don't even give a fuck about at this point because I'm stoked for this. But here's a big one. Well, for one, mana burn has been fixed. It used to be often the enemies with mana burn, even in a lower difficulty, will just burn your mana down to 0 or 1 with 1 or 2 hits because it was bugged. But here's a big one. Runes gems now auto stack when being transferred from to inventory. You remember how the Pd2 Season 2 rune stack, right? It was a great implementation. The problem was if you find a bunch of runes, you had to click one at a time and stack that motherfucker on in your stash. Because if you just did the little thing where you let it shift over to your stash, it won't stack. It'll just go to another slot, an available slot. But now that shit's going to all stack. So there's even more incentive now, I think, to have it nice and organized, have all your little gems and shit, have all your little ducks in a row. And you could just transfer that shit over after finding it. It's all going to be lined up, man, nice and clean, all right? So your room's going to be fucking clean this time around if you have any level of self-responsibility, for real. All right, my stash will be cleaner in Season 3, Project Diablo 2. Just watch. This is going to be a damn good time. That alone is incentive for me to want to play, to be honest with you dogs, because the item hunt is real, you know, the materials hunt is real. It's just sometimes organizing that shit is a real bitch. And Diablo 2 Resurrected, they sure as fuck better implement a system where we can stack our runes. Because it's bullshit not being able to do that. You know, that shit is dated, and I don't give a fuck if it stays true to its roots or not in that case. Let that shit stack, all right? Let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me on that. And if you don't, your opinion is fucking bullshit. All right, let's move on. So, newly made characters now start with low quality items. So now you have incentive to find an item right away. I think there's another reason why they did that. I don't think they start with splash damage either. I don't know. Newly made barbs start with two-handed axes. Okay. So just a bunch of little things. Tiger Strike, this is a kind of a big deal. Where it now creates 2 charges per attack instead of 1. Point mods that were removed, like summon resist, no longer appear on items. Okay, that's good. Normal acceptable claws can spawn. Clubs can now spawn with droid point mods, similar to pelts. Lightning Fury has received a bit of a buff. Lightning Fury kind of sucked in Season 2. You could only emit up to 10 bolts in total, even if your Lightning Fury was level 45. All right, and remember LOD Classic, right? You could emit like 30, 40 bolts. It's crazy. That shit just fills the screen. So Lightning Fury was kind of a little bitch in Season 2, but I think those additional 2 bolts will probably go a long ways. And I think they should improve it a little bit more than that, like 14, 15, 16 bolts. You know, just bump that shit up and let's see what happens. I think that's what they should do. But they probably won't. But it's better than nothing, man. Now we have 12 bolts. So that's like almost a 20%, you know, damage increase kind of. But all that shit splits obviously with Pierce, so it's going to be a pretty big deal. Poison Javelin things have been increased some. I don't think there's a cooldown. You can cost that shit like crazy, to my understanding. Plague Javelin and Poison Javelin now. Faster tick rate for Blade Shield. Magic Find and Experience reduced slightly in maps. I think that's just fine, because folks are just finding all the shit, you know. Them good items, they was just raining from the sky is the thing. So I didn't map much. Y'all who watch Iceman know I run the Chaos Sanctuary and shit. You know, I just chill. But I know that there are a lot of you dogs who run in the maps with your little Death Trap, Assassins, and shit like that. And just, you were finding all sorts of godly gear. And you were just saturating the fuck out of the market with that stuff. So I think this is just fine. You know, I think they should reduce that shit more as far as I see it. But yeah, I don't really run maps too much. But I'm going to run some Season 3, alright? Map mods that increase enemy life come with higher experience mods. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, fuck. Okay, slow knockback, disabled in PvP. So just a couple more things here. Missile Pierce is disabled in PvP. Berserk has been improved. There's now a dual wielding skill. Attacks fast as fuck. And it pierces their physical resistance. Now, just like Elemental Pierce, I'm pretty damn sure it's not going to break immunities, but they all resist a lot of fucking physical in hell, alright? There's enemies that resist 50% plus. You know, a lot of them resist, I mean, they all resist physical to some extent. And a lot of them resist it by 40 or 50%, all right? So you want to pierce that shit. You're going to be doing a lot more damage if you do. I can't recall if there's a way to break physical immunities without amp damage. You can put an Atma's Amulet on your Barbarian. It has a 7% chance now to cast amp damage, and that'll probably take care of most of the physical immunes. So I'm thinking a Berserk Barb with Atma's Amulet. Shit, I want to make one of these. Because I like the Frenzy Dogs, you know? The Frenzy Hogs, rather. So I might make me a Barbarian as well. Fuck it. Leap Attack. Taunt is now an AoE skill. Proof Thorns effects to trigger from ranged attacks. Thorns RL deals flat damage instead of percentage. Holy shit. So Thorns might be worth a damn. Probably just that. Just a damn, but not much more. But it might be worth something in a very minute way, because Thorns sucked. And I remember I made a Bramble for my, or I traded for one anyway, put it on my Rogue Mercenary. And all my skeleton army had it, and it just didn't do shit. I'd watch them hit everything. You wouldn't even notice it doing shit in terms of reflect. So we'll see what sort of damage they're talking about here. There's no specifics, you know, it just says base damage. So I'm assuming they're going to give it something that's somewhat worthwhile. You know, we'll find out. Grim Ward, is that the one that actually can break physical immunity? Or is that... See, I get these two mods mixed up sometimes. I can't remember if that was Path of Diablo or was that Pd2. I think that might have been Pd2. You cast Grim Ward from a corpse. I think it still requires a corpse. And it creates this thing that in a certain radius it can like pierce enemy physical resistances. I think it can break immunities, but I'm not for sure. Fire Claw now creates a fast-moving, short-range firestorm effect. So this is a big deal as well. A Fire Claw droid. He's not just going to do fire damage, but he's going to have a little firestorm in front of him. So that's interesting. Poison Creeper now reduces poison resistance. Can break immunities at half effectiveness. Holy shit. So a rabies droid with a Poison Creeper can go around and break poison immunities, but perhaps even more helpful is that it's going to pierce the shit out of everything else anyway. Although many would argue it's more helpful to break the immunities, but your call. Let me know in the comments below. I just love piercing the shit out of their resistance, because you're going to be doing tons of damage. Imagine that droid in cow level. That'd be godly. Ubi key drop rates are 100%. Oh, that's great. Okay, that's great. Anti-teleport zones removed, and Enigma increased blink recharge rate. All right, so Enigma is going to be a little better now. There you have it. Just a couple, I don't know if there's going to be any added notes, but let me know what you guys think about those changes. And I kind of want to make a Lightning Sorceress, and a Frenzy Berserk Barbarian, and a Fireclaw Droid. So this is fucked up. I have 3 different builds that I want to make almost to an equal degree each. I don't know which one to make. Which one do you think Iceboy should run? Let me know in the comments below. I know all you fuckers are going to say the Fireclaw Droid, but we'll see. Let me know which one you think Iceboy should run. And hey man, which one are you going to run? What do you plan to run for Season 3 PD2? Appreciate you guys for supporting Iceboy, especially my patrons. To my patrons, may your finances be blessed. May you have many wives. And if you would like to become a patron, click the links in the description below. Peace be with you.